such an asshole!
Hey everybody, the old captain here, and the old captain's on vacation, but I'm always on vacation then, aren't I? It's always working vacation. One of these days I'll have somebody take over my entire outfit, and they will do the asshole consulting and the emails and all that. Anyway, and I went on like a 12-mile hike around between 10 and 11, 12,000 feet, and I'm just beaten a little tired. That was last night. Anyway, so you could go to assholeconsulting.com if you have a question, and you have money. And the old captain, in a very elderly, brotherly way, will kick your ass and tell you the truth of what you need to know. A young man writes, Aaron, my name is Mike, a 9-year honorably discharged Air Force veteran, overseas 8 years in a row, couldn't re-enlist due to high year tenure, and despite a sparkling clean record, being under the wrong leadership unfortunately was contributing factor to me getting out. Although to prove I'm not telling you excuses, at my very next base I worked so hard to get my career back, was promoted to a desk job after 6 months, where I got to work with a hot lieutenant. That's trouble. And have cushy working hours. I'm a huge fan of your videos, by the way. After getting out, my dad and I began a medical cannabis business, but after a few months I realized my dad gave me zero control. Was not listening to outside counsel, and he's running it into the ground, and I couldn't do shit about it. I invested $25,000 into the business and $22,000 into a cabin. He told me he's willing to buy me out for $42,000, which is what I want to do. I moved out of the cabin and back with my wife and try and patch things up. Shit was weird when I left the military. I struggled to find identity. All right, so let's stop here and deal with your the money you've invested with your dad. Yeah, get out of the cannabis business if it's not making money. Parents just make horrible business partners. I've known a couple that it works, but it's usually the father or mother who has a trade or a skill or an expertise. For example, accounting. They build up a business, and then or dentistry or something, and then they teach or pass along their skill to their son or daughter, and then they take it over. This sounded like your dad, like, dude, let's grow weed, man. Like, all right, dude, and your dad probably is no experience, ran it into the ground, isn't making money, and then he's like, oh, let's buy a cabin. Like, when your parents start asking you for money to invest in their cabins, that they're using you as a down payment. They're using you as, there's always two people in a business partnership. There's the guy that does all the work and has the money, and then there's the scumbag who's the big idea guy who just wants you to do all the work and front your money and then pay him. It sounds like your dad's that. Now, he could be a great guy, but based on what you've told me, yeah, you want to get the fuck away from this guy, at least with your finances, and you want to get your money back. You want that 42 grand. And I almost could guarantee you he doesn't have it, because your dad sounds like he just pisses it away. But so if you could get that money, that's going to help you with your second problem, and that is what you want to do. So if you got 42 grand, that would definitely help you with buying a car, living expenses, maybe even a down payment on a small condo, something. So that's good seed capital that your dad should, as he said, would give you. So now I'm living in Idaho with her, trying to make it better, and it's coming along slowly but surely. Yeah, I'm still not sure I want to even be married at this point, since 8 years. After 8 years of marriage, we have 0 kids. Well, I mean, do you love her? Does she love you? I mean, that would be a good... I mean, show her this video. I mean, look, if you guys aren't like, hey, I still love you, I mean, it could be the easiest divorce in the world, and it could be easy on you guys emotionally, where it's just like, yeah, you know what, we don't really... I mean, we don't hate each other, but we don't love each other either, and maybe we should just go our separate ways. And man, that's the nicest, bestest divorce. And then you're relatively young. You guys could still go out and find somebody else. But then maybe you guys actually do like each other. Maybe there's some small things you guys got. I'm no marriage counselor, therapist person. But you don't have to be, because it's not a fucking real job. It's not that hard. Dude, what's wrong with them? I mean, be brutally honest with each other. Say, you're pissing me off with this, or I need you to change in that. And they're like, oh, I did. Half the time you don't even know you're pissing the person off for whatever reason. You don't like my blue boxer shorts? Well, fine. I'm colorblind. I didn't even know they were blue. You know, Jesus, I can get rid of them. So, you know, just have a heart-to-heart talk with your wife, and then, you know, find out if you guys want to stick together. But just because you don't have kids doesn't mean, well, I mean, you guys must have got married for some fucking reason. While in the Air Force, I earned my associates in logistics. I've applied elsewhere, landing a sales job, selling stuff. We'll just leave it that way. My cut is 30% of sales. My boss and senior coworkers like me so far, and I think my theater background is helping me be naturally good at this. Well, it sounds good. On top of my persistent attitude, I'm pretty broke right now. Uh, Trying to either do Pizza Hut in my spare time or do Uber downtown in my spare time. I definitely do it there. You're thinking right. You're doing it. You're doing two jobs. Do you have a good enough car for Uber? That's what I was asking with the 42 grand because you need to have a decent car for Uber. Um, so I don't know how you're broke because well maybe you gave all your money to your dad, but right now you got to cut your living expenses whatever they are. Come up with a budget. Um, if you ever question, well, how do I come up with a budget? Get Bachelor Pad Economics. It's in there. But yeah, between these two jobs, you should be banking money by this time. You should not be broke if you have two jobs. Your Uber thing, you're gonna have to learn how to do that correctly. That means maybe you have to wake up at 3 a.m. or whatever it is. So find out, and it could also be that Boise isn't a great place to Uber. It depends on more than one thing. But there's a bunch of online resources I looked at. I got a couple buddies at Uber. Like, yeah, you could do it, but you got to be willing to wake up. You got to be willing to go where it is. Some of them refuse to deal with bar closing. Some just say, forget that, I'm not doing that. Some are like, okay, I can do that. That's fine. They put plastic on their thing, so when people throw up, they just pick up the plastic. The car's still clean. Um, so yeah, you got two jobs. I am close to being hired in by FedEx, but I pissed hot with cannabis. All right, well, you're smoking pot, so fuck you, dipshit. Stop doing that. There's your problem. Boss is cool, knows I smoke. I don't smoke anymore since 40 days ago, and is willing to work with me in 4 to 5 weeks. Okay, so let's stop smoking altogether, and that's an indication that life is not just happening to you. You're making stupid ass fucking choices. All right, so I would make sure you never smoke pot again. No more drugs. Not that you were doing them. You don't have the luxury of doing drugs or drinking right now. You just don't because you're broke. Do you think I should be doing more? My anxiety for military service makes some things more challenging. Now, having spent so long, I know I have the post 9/11 GI Bill, but I don't want to burn it up on the wrong program. Awesome, smart. All my friends believe I'm destined for sales, and that is my forte. So I think I'll stick with this because I enjoy tough challenges. Thoughts? Yeah, right now you're doing pretty much everything I would recommend, minus the pot smoking. But what I would do is the answer is not just given to you. That you're not going to wake up tomorrow and say, this is what I am to do. Keep working your sales job. I would listen to your friends. A lot of people said I should have gone into theatrics or something like that because of my personality. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Da, da, da. And lo and behold, here I am, YouTube, online personality, radio show host, ballroom dance instructor. And those are the things I was really good at. So I would listen to your friends. Maybe you do have a thing with sales, but you don't have a choice right now. You got to keep your sales job, which will bring in some basic income. I would keep Ubering, see if you can't master the algorithm to find out what the perfect or variables are so you make a lot of money on Uber. And then on some spare time, maybe take a couple classes online that are free, Khan's Academy, go to YouTube tutorials, find out what maybe you want to study. Now, keep in mind though, the reason to go to college is to make money, to get a career. If all of a sudden you start killing it in the sales job in Uber, you may not need to go to college, and you can always save that GI Bill for later. So I would let the lines in the water that you have for fishing go see if you catch some fish. Because look, if you can skip going to college, you just saved yourself 4 fucking years of your life, and us taxpayers a lot of money, frankly. But keep doing what you're doing now. Build up a war chest. If you have any debts, get rid of your debts. Get your money from your dad. Get yourself maybe a decent, reliable car so that you could go ahead and Uber. If you're not going to Uber, then don't get a decent, reliable car. Get one that you can fix. Figure out what you and your wife want to do. And then I'd say give it a full year of you building up your money, building up your savings, paying off whatever debts you might have. And then once you get to that year will go by, you'll have an idea like, okay, maybe I want to study this, or I do like my job, I hate my job, I like Uber, I don't like Uber. And then, but even if you don't like them, you're still gonna have to do them to build up that money. And then once you say, after studying, taking some online classes, after researching the internet, I found out I really like becoming a mechanic. Well, I found out I really want to become an accountant. Then you take your GI Bill and then you go do it. So in other words, your next year is going to be an exploratory year for you. You're going to figure some shit out. You're going to clean up your plate. You're going to build up some money. You're going to see if you're good at sales. You're going to see if you're good at Uber. And then by that year, the time comes by, or actually not a year. Let's make it 9 because like you got well, no, wait, you apply for school in the fall. So let's give it a year. Give it a year. So next year, this time, summer, late summer. Then you kind of evaluate, do I want to apply for a degree? Do I want to use my GI Bill? So that's why I recommend. Hope that gives you some options and a game plan. But yeah, your plan is good. It's better than, dude, man, my parents suck. But I mean, you were in the military, so that got kicked out of you real quick. But yeah, no, not a bad plan at all. Just, think more long term. Like, okay, why am I doing this? Like, you got to have a goal at the end of it. It has to figure out what you want to do with the GI Bill or not. So hope that helped out. Toodles.